They erased her from history, but we found her. Asterisk, asterisk, hook, asterisk, asterisk. You think you know history? What if I told you that most of it is a lie? Not a small lie, but a huge one. The biggest moments in history are missing their main characters. And today, we're gonna find them. There's a name for it, the Matilda Effect. And it's insane. It's when women's incredible achievements get stolen and credited to men. It's like history has a ghostwriter, and for centuries, that ghostwriter was a woman whose name was intentionally left off the cover. So we asked ourselves, what if the world was secretly built by women we've never even heard of? We went on a mission to find them, and what we discovered is gonna blow your mind. Crazy scale. Women, 0.5% of history. To put that in perspective, if history was a 200-page book, women would only be mentioned on a single page. That's basically nothing. And it's not just ancient history. In American schools, out of all the historical figures taught, only 178 are women. This isn't a mistake, it's a pattern. Our history books are broken, but when you start looking in the gaps, when you see who really did the work, you find these absolute legends who have been left in the dark. These women literally built our modern world. And today, we're putting a spotlight on them. Asterisk, asterisk. Section 1. The pioneers of science we never knew. Asterisk, asterisk. Okay, first up, science. This is where the Matilda Effect goes completely off the rails. You won't believe this. Take Lise Meitner. Albert Einstein himself called her the German Marie Curie. That's how you know she was a big deal. A brilliant physicist, she was a pioneer in radioactivity. She worked with a guy named Otto Hahn, and they were about to make a massive breakthrough. But after she was forced to flee Nazi Germany, Hahn did the final experiment. He had no idea what the results meant. It was Meitner, reading his data in a letter, who figured out nuclear fission, the splitting of the atom. It was like she wrote the entire recipe for a world-changing dish, and he was just the chef who cooked it. But Hahn published their work without her name on it. He alone got the Nobel Prize in 1944. Lise Meitner was nominated for a Nobel Prize 49 times and never won. 49 times. She was the mind that unlocked the atom, and history gave the key to someone else. Then there's Hedy Lamarr. To the world, she was a glamorous Hollywood movie star. But behind the scenes, she was a self-taught inventor with an insane mind for military tech. During World War II, Lamarr co-invented a secret communications system. Think of passing secret notes in class. If you use the same path every time, the teacher will catch on. But if you constantly change the path in a secret, pre-planned way, the notes get through. Lamarr's frequency hopping did just that for torpedo signals. The US Navy basically dismissed it. But years later, that same technology became the blueprint for Wi-Fi, GPS, and Bluetooth. The stuff you are using right now to watch this video. Her face was on movie posters, while her truly world-changing legacy was kept a secret for decades. But this next story is on another level. In 1951, a 31-year-old mom named Henrietta Lacks went to Johns Hopkins for cancer treatment. Doctors took a sample of her cells without her permission. Her cells did something no human cells had ever done. They were immortal. It was like a biological superpower. Normal cells grow old and die, but hers were like a fountain of youth in a petri dish, doubling every 24 hours. This cell line, named HeLa, became the ultimate cheat code for medicine. HeLa cells were used to develop the polio vaccine, to study cancer, and to understand the human genome. Yet, Henrietta Lacks died that same year, having no idea about her monumental contribution. Her family wouldn't learn the truth for another 25 years. Her body helped heal the world, while the world never even knew her name. Asterisk, asterisk, Section 2. The activists who fought in the shadows. Asterisk, asterisk, the fight for justice is always focused on a few big names, right? But for every leader we know, there are countless women who did the craziest things and got zero credit. Everyone knows Rosa Parks. But 9 months before she refused to give up her seat, a 15-year-old girl named Claudette Colvin did the exact same thing. On the 2nd of March 1955, Colvin was arrested for defying segregation. Civil rights leaders considered making her the face of the movement, but they decided against it because she was a pregnant teenager, and they feared she wasn't respectable enough. It was like they had a blockbuster movie, but thought the star didn't have the right look for the poster. so they chose Rosa Parks instead. Colvin later helped win the court case that made bus segregation unconstitutional, but her own act of defiance was nearly erased from history. Around the same time, in Cambridge, Maryland, this absolute powerhouse named Gloria Richardson was leading the charge. She started and led a grassroots civil rights group, the first woman to do so outside the Deep South. While other leaders focused on voting, Richardson demanded more. It was like they were fighting just for a seat at the dinner table, while she was demanding a whole new kitchen that could feed everyone. She fought for economic justice, better jobs, housing, and healthcare. There's an iconic photo of her calmly pushing aside the bayonet of a National Guardsman like it was nothing, a true legend, and we just forgot about her. And the fight for women to vote? It was brutal. Alice Paul was one of the movement's most brilliant and hardcore strategists. She organized the Silent Sentinels, who picketed the White House for months, facing arrest and insane brutality. When Paul herself was arrested, she led a hunger strike in jail. Her strategy was to turn her own body into a weapon. The authorities' response was horrifying. They had her declared insane, sent to a psychiatric ward, and brutally force-fed her. When news of this torture got out, it shocked the nation and helped win the vote. And her extreme sacrifice is often just a footnote. Section 3. The leaders who ruled without recognition. It's not just science and activism. The actual laws and systems we live in were built by women who got erased. Think about equal opportunity in education. Millions of women have access to higher education and sports today because of a law called Title IX. But how many people know who wrote it? Her name was Patsy Takemoto Mink, and she was the first woman of color and the first Asian American woman elected to Congress. Having been denied entry to medical school herself just for being a woman, she was driven to make sure no one else faced the same barriers. She was the main author of Title IX, which acted like a master key that unlocked thousands of doors for women. After she died, the law was officially renamed after her. But in popular memory, her name is still largely unknown. Let's go back even further. This one is wild. In the 16th century, one of the wealthiest and most powerful people in all of Europe was a Jewish woman named Gracia Mendes Nasi. Known as Doña Gracia, she ran a massive banking and trading empire. But she used her insane wealth for a secret, dangerous purpose. She built an underground railroad. She was a real-life superhero, using her fortune as her power. By day, a business mogul. By night, the leader of a secret network, smuggling hundreds of Jews out of Portugal and Spain to safety. She defied kings to protect her people, yet her story of courage is rarely told. The why. A pattern of erasure, So why does this keep happening over and over? How do we lose these literal superheroes from our history books? It's like history was a movie, but for centuries, the editing room was controlled by men who left most of the women's scenes on the cutting room floor. First, for centuries, history was written by and focused on men. Women were only mentioned if they were connected to their husbands or fathers. For women of color like Claudette Colvin and Henrietta Lacks, the biases of gender were compounded by race, pushing them even further to the edge. Then there's the deliberate theft of credit we call the Matilda Effect. And finally, there's been outright suppression. Women like Alice Paul weren't just ignored, they were punished, silenced, and called unstable for daring to challenge the system. The message was clear. Stay in your place, or we will erase you. CTA***. These are just a handful of the women we found when we started looking, but there are thousands more. Their stories are out there, waiting to be found. Finding them is the first step. Sharing their stories is the next. If you believe we need a more complete, more honest history, subscribe for more hidden stories like these, and share this to help bring these women out of the shadows. Tell us in the comments. Who is a forgotten woman from history that you think everyone needs to know about? Conclusion. Fixing the historical record isn't just about giving credit where it's due. It's about giving the next generation a true and inspiring vision of what's possible. As the activist Marian Wright Edelman said, "You can't be what you can't see." When we erase women, we deny young people powerful role models. The stories of Lise Meitner, Gloria Richardson, and Patsy Takemoto Mink prove that women have never been passive bystanders. They have always been architects of change, leaders of movements, and pioneers of discovery. By finding them, we're not rewriting history. we're finally telling the full story, and we're reminding ourselves that our past and our future is so much richer and more complex than we were ever told.